our perspective.
Hi, and welcome to F the News, the social current affairs podcast looking into all things female and empowering women everywhere. I am your host, Liyanne Marie, and before I introduce you to our guest today, let's have a look at what's happening in the world and look at the news headlines. Menopause Focus Supplement line founded by former Snapchat executive Catherine Carter. She has launched MyPause, an e-commerce supplement brand which is aimed at elevating menopause symptoms like sleep problems and low energy. Her initiative fills a gap for clearly labelled symptom-specific products in women's health. Biodegradable period products startup lands at Boots distribution. Olivia Ann's biotech venture, Floose, produces flushable microplastic-free menstrual pads. It's backed by £18 million and sold in Boots. It's a leap forward in sustainable and accessible period care. And Percy Health secures £3 million to bolster virtual cancer care. London's Percy Health is offering a virtual cancer wellness support via NHS-trained specialists. Obtain vital funding to integrate AI and expand insurers' partnerships. And a mum was barred from London Tech Week for bringing her baby. Davina Shonley, a female AI founder, was denied entry for bringing her toddler to London Tech Week, a situation exposing structural barriers for women in tech gatherings. And Ellipsis Health raises $45 million for empathetic AI post-care. The San Francisco AI health tech company is using voice-based tools to detect emotional cues and support chronic patients, offering mental and physical wellness follow-up. And at the age 30, Lucy Gio hits billionaire status. The AI co-founder became the youngest self-made female billionaire via a stake in Scale AI. She's now building Passes, a subscription-based platform aimed at empowering women financially and creatively. And there is an urgent push to close UK femtech funding gap. A report highlights that women-led health tech startups in the UK obtained 23% less capital per deal. Scaling support networks and investment is deemed crucial. And the women-led fintech and wellness startup Scale is rapidly blooming, as it's focusing on female financial literacy and parenting support, secured early funding and are now building engaged female communities. And a revolution in women's sportswear from female founders. Brands like Ida football boots, NIXI body menopause underwear and improved sports bras are gaining traction at stores like London and making fitness more inclusive for women. And lastly, a Queen's Club is to host the women's tennis after 52 years. The prestigious Queen's Club in London is staging a WTA 500 event featuring top players and aiming to close gender pay gaps, galvanising support for women's tennis. That's our news headlines for this week. Wonderful. Now, I'm excited to introduce our next guest on our podcast today. And obviously at F the News, this is where we dive very deep into the minds of creative entrepreneurs, change makers and visionary leaders who are refining what is possible. Our guest is the definition of purpose-driven entrepreneurship. We are going to meet Serena Jade. She is the founder of Pink Tiger Virtual Assistants. It's a powerhouse agency created to give creative entrepreneurs what they need most, time. Serena saw a gap, and creatives are drowning in admin tasks instead of doing what they love, and she is building the bridge. As a single mum on a mission to design a life that worked for her and her daughter, Serena launched this business that now empowers other creatives to stay in their zone of genius while her team handles the behind-the-scenes hustle, from admin and social media to full-scale branded events. If you're a creative who's tired of being bogged down by the boring stuff, or you're dreaming of launching an unforgettable brand experience, this episode is going to be for you. Please let me welcome Serena. Hi, Serena.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Get comfy, get relaxed. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah?
I'm really good. Yeah.
How exciting is all of this?
Oh, very.
I mean, you're going to teach me some things, I think, today, because virtual assistant, this is a whole new world, right?
It's fairly new.
Let's take it back, though, so people understand a little bit of the journey for Serena. And, you know, what was you doing before you even thought about starting a business?
Well, I was actually planning to relocate to Colombia. I was complete relocation. I booked a one-way ticket to Colombia. I was sorting out my job, my apartment. It was supposed to be June 2022. Okay. And in March 2022, I fell pregnant with my daughter.
Right. So, a blessing.
A blessing, of course. Yeah. But yeah, it didn't happen. So I planned to go. I've got an education background, so I planned to go back into education after my daughter was born. Yeah. And I realized that unfortunately that wasn't going to work for me. The time, it just wasn't going to work. Yeah. And especially because of the hours and nursery fees. Yes. It's very expensive. And in order to sort of find a part-time placement, it wasn't working.
No, it's too challenging.
Yeah, I was signing up for agencies and waiting by the phone, getting dressed for the day, 7 a.m, waiting by the phone and nothing. Yeah. And I would spend the whole day just sort of wallowing in self-pity.
Yes. So the idea then of doing this virtual assistant business, did that get birth through the birth of your daughter?
No, it was after. So when she was about 1.5, that's when I sort of realized that I don't think I can go back into education just yet. Because that was the plan for when I went to Colombia. I was going to teach over in Colombia. So I've always sort of been, I've worked in many industries, but education was my actual background. Yeah. And I realized I couldn't actually do that. And I wanted to, my parents worked so hard. They both worked 2 jobs. My mum was in college as well when I was in school. And I didn't see much of them. Yes. And I didn't work, though they didn't work as hard as they did for me to end up the same. Right. Not seeing my daughter, not being able to go to her parents' evenings and things like that. And I just wanted something that allowed for that, really. And I didn't think it was far-fetched.
Okay. And it's such a hard thing, isn't it? The motherhood of, once we become mothers, we have to make sacrifices, don't we? And then how do we manage it all? You know, as you say, we miss out on the parents' meeting sometimes if you're doing a very demanding, like, full-time job. Yeah. So you felt like this service was needed, and Pink Tiger. Where's that come from?
Well, my favourite colour is pink.
Well, you're in the right space.
Yes,
for being
I love pink.
Yeah.
It's my favourite colour. And I actually like leopards. Leopard print is my second favourite sort of print or thing to wear. Okay. But pink leopard just wasn't cutting it for me. It just wasn't.
Pink leopard.
Yeah, it just wasn't. No, it wasn't what I needed to be. I wanted a bit more oomph. So I was like, okay, pink tiger. Yeah. So yeah, pink tiger was it. When I saw it on paper, I was like,
and tiger just sounds so powerful.
Yeah,
as well,
exactly.
Doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you mentioned starting the agency as a single mum. Yeah. How did that kind of shape for you, like how you were going to run your business and be a mum, and then the values that you were going to bring into your business at that time?
That's a really good question, actually. Well, actually, prior to having children, I didn't want children. Really? I actually, before falling pregnant, I had a conversation with my family. I was like, guys, I'm going to be the rich auntie. I'm going to travel the world. I don't really want kids. Yeah. And if I am going to have kids, it'll be sort of like in my mid-30s. Yeah. Like, it won't be anytime soon. Like, don't expect any grandkids from me. And then not knowing that I was the next one to have the next grandchild. So
beautiful daughter. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think becoming a mum has changed me. Yeah. And I hear, before having my daughter, I heard people say that a lot, like, oh, having a child really changes you. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, right. But it does. It changes every little thing you do, down to even, like, what you eat, what you cook. Like, it's everything. It changes everything about you. Yeah. And I realized that there are probably other women, other female founders, other female creative, other mums that are in business, that are entrepreneurs, that are looking for time back. Yeah. And I hadn't heard of virtual assistants at all. Like, no, I'd never heard of it.
And tell us, what is virtual assistant? Tell us, what is it?
So a virtual assistant is someone that can help you with your admin, your social media, miscellaneous things. So, like, for example, admin, they can help you with responding to emails when you're out with your family. They can help you with invoicing and bookkeeping, your calendar management, helping you manage your calendar, reminding you of things. Even though, yes, we do have AI to help us with that, but having a human having an assistant that is dedicated to your journey, it does make a difference.
So the virtual side of it, I suppose, because you've got like your personal assistants, or you've got, you know, assistants in that way. The virtual side of things, what's the difference with that? Is it that you just can do everything over technology or online? Okay,
so everything is done online. So we have a team of VAs from the Philippines, from Kenya, from Poland. They're global. And the good thing about that is while you're sleeping, they're working. And depending on the time zone, depending on what you want as well.
Okay. And let us know like cost though of these things, because I like already I'm feeling like I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a businesswoman, I'm also a mom, and I'm like, but you know, there's certain things that you've got to, that you can afford and you can't afford. Is it an expensive kind of cost?
It's an investment, but it's not expensive.
That's a really good answer. It's an investment, but not expensive.
So our cheapest package, which is 3 hours a week, starts from less than £150 per month. So
per month. And you get how many hours a week?
3 hours per week.
That's really good.
And we go up to about 20 hours a week. But we can create both bespoke packages for your personal needs as well.
Okay.
So if you need maybe more hours in 1 week of the month and then less hours in the rest of the month, like we can create bespoke packages as well.
Oh, that's really interesting. Depending on the demand and what people need.
Everyone's different.
For their business.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've been running this now for a while?
No, so we've only just launched the agency, but I was a freelancer. So I started as a freelancer on my own, and I realized that
doing the virtual assistant stuff just on your own.
On my own. And I very quickly realized I'm going to need to expand. I'm going to need to scale this. Number one, and number two, there's nothing for creatives. No. I remember when I was sort of looking for a niche, and they always say, like, when you start a business, niche down as much as you can. And I was looking, and I didn't really see anyone doing anything for creatives. So I'm just like, why is that? And that was really strange to me, because in my personal opinion, if there's anyone that does need a virtual assistant, it's a creative.
Yeah.
It's someone that is spending their creative time or most of their hours in creativity. Especially in the rise of AI, we need creatives. We really, really do. Yeah. And it was just really peculiar that there weren't any VAs that were sort of marketing their services towards creatives. I found it really, really strange.
And if you speak to like most creatives, I mean, I'm a creative, there's creatives in the room and stuff, but if you speak to most creatives, I think it's the admin side of things that they really kind of, maybe struggle is not the right word, but it's one of the least things they enjoy doing.
Absolutely.
Because they're creative. So they want to spend their kind of time and their mindset on being creative. So actually what you're offering is a really, really supportive, you know, business for people. Have there been, with you now starting then this new business, this is a new launch.
Yes.
So there must be some fears that you've had, or some, you know, some challenges that you faced in starting this launch. Have you had any of that?
Yes.
Can you share that with me?
Yeah. So we were supposed to launch on the 28th of April. That was the original plan. When I employed my team, or onboarded my team, because they're freelancers, they're not employees. When I hired my team, I explained to them, yes, we're going to be launching on the 20th of April. So get excited, get ready. And around that time, my daughter had chickenpox. She got chickenpox from nursery.
Oh, no.
It was so much in that week, and it was a lot. And
real life kicked in.
Right, exactly, real life. And I think it's even a testament to Pink Tiger. This is who we are. We support mums. We are mums. We are creatives. We support you. Like, we know what it's like. We're not sort of looking down at our noses at you. Like, we know what it's like.
And so many businesses and places need to get better at that, don't they? With the flexibility, the support.
Yeah.
So you offer that with anybody.
Even with my VAs, I even say to them, like, look, if a client is trying to get you to do anything outside of your scope, number one, or outside of your hours, I've created email templates for them to send and say, I'm not doing
Serena is a boss woman. I can feel it. I can feel the energy of you already. So why do you think it is that so many creatives struggle with you know, the task that kind of maybe you're offering?
I just think we're different. People that are creative just have a different way of functioning. And I don't think that it's wrong or right. I think there are people that are more type A and there are people that are more type B. And I think getting type A people to help type B people is literally a match made in heaven.
Yes.
I actually created a course when I onboarded my VAs, a course specifically called Inside the Mind of a Creative. And it breaks down literally everything. It was a very intensive course, and you have to do an assessment, because I don't want anyone on my team that doesn't understand a creative. There's no point.
Because I was going to ask that. How do you find a good kind of VA to join your team? What are the skill sets they need to have?
I looked more at what they do outside of their virtual assistant life. I want to see what they're doing as hobbies, what they're doing, what they're interested in. So when I did hire them, we had a coffee chat first. And I said, okay, this is a very informal, just a 15-minute chat. I just want to get to know you.
Yeah.
And we've got bassists, we've got female bass players, we've got bakers, we've got dog walkers, we've got people that are just from all walks of life, makeup artists, all sorts, people that have come from a creative background and then became virtual assistants. So they already have a creative mind, and now they're just now in this VA industry.
And I suppose being a virtual assistant, because I used to see it come up quite a bit on TikTok, and I never knew what a virtual
That's how I found out.
Oh, right. And I would be like, what is a virtual assistant? And, you know, they would be promoting how much money they can make and how enticing it is to be a virtual assistant. But I suppose the beauty of it is you could have a virtual assistant that is anywhere in the world as well, right?
Absolutely.
It doesn't need to be next to you in an office, which that's a beautiful thing. And what are some signs that you think a creative entrepreneur might be ready, like might know, that you will know that they're ready to hire a virtual assistant?
I'd say first and foremost, if you are being burnt out by your admin to the point where you can no longer create.
I'm hiring Pink Tiger after this. Yeah,
I think that's one of the number one signs.
We resonate with this in the room, I think, right? Yeah. Burnout, right?
Yes,
okay.
Burnout is so real, and I think as a creative, burnout is just so detrimental to your journey, and it's not worth it. I think if you do have the disposable income to invest in a service like a virtual assistant, I think it's so worth it.
Do you know what else as well just came to mind there where you're saying it? I think a beautiful thing as well about having a virtual assistant is they're not trying to do your business, are they?
No.
They are just assisting, because I think that we've spoken about on the podcast as well, like this, the gatekeeping in our industry. The moment you have somebody that assists you or joins you, there is a fear across the industry, you know, that they're coming to take your intellectual property, clients, all of this. Actually, a virtual assistant is just there to
cheer you on
and help you. Cheerleader and help you and support and help you elevate your business without coming in and saying, yeah, I want to do that business, so I'm going to kind of take over. So there's a beautiful thing in that. And what are some tasks that people think they have to do themselves, but they really don't?
Client management. That's one that I think a lot of people think that they have to do alone, when in actual fact they don't. You can actually have someone on your behalf, especially the longer you have your VA, the longer they know you, the longer they understand your brand, they understand how you respond to certain messages, and they know you. They know how to respond to a message on your behalf, and it will be obviously from them. They'll say,
so you have to give them access to your emails and all of this, and so you have to really have a good trusting relationship as well, don't you?
So we use password secure, like password storing systems called like 1Password, LastPass, where you share your password. The VA is now given a link, but when they put the link into, let's say, Instagram or their email, they don't see the password. It's just literally, the black dots. So they don't see your password ever. You just share it. Yeah.
Right, I'm so old school. I don't know that. Now, Pink Tiger Virtual Assistants, it's new, right? So, but what is going to make you different from any other virtual assistant services out there? What do you think makes you different?
I think us genuinely caring about creatives. I think us really wanting the creative industry to be pushed. And there's one statistic that I was reading up on recently, that 40% of founders spend 40% of their time on admin. And if you think about, let's say someone has a creative business, 40% of your time on admin, that's not even just social media, that's just the admin. That's a lot of time.
That is a lot of time.
That you're losing time on marketing and networking with people and just being in your creative space.
And the thing is, as a creative, a lot of our client-based, work-based stuff comes in from networking, from being out there on the field, in the industry, right? So actually being behind the desk is not really where a creative should be, should it? You also offer custom branding for like events.
Yeah.
Walk us through that, like a fully branded experience. What might that look like if somebody was wanting that from you?
So I think, I'll start with saying that I think a lot of people think that when it comes to branding, they have to be this huge person in order to sort of have a branded event or to have custom branding for whatever it may be. You don't. It's very affordable. And the reason why I even started doing this as part of my virtual assistant services is because I want creative to shine. Even just having like a custom branded water bottle, like you have your custom branded cups, it makes such a difference. Like these lights, it makes such a difference. It gives an impression. And I think just you doing, like, you having your custom branding, it makes other people believe who you say you are, if that makes sense. You believe in your source.
Yes.
Let other people believe in it as well. So we, let's say, for example, a full branded event, let's say a Femme Fatale event, you can have your custom branding crisp packets, custom branded water bottles, balloon arrangements.
I'm so glad you've got Serena here today. Yeah.
And it's all done
Keep on going.
My mum does it, actually.
And your mum does that. See, this is what I'm talking about.
So she's under Pink Tiger as well. She's our event stylist and our branding specialist.
This is the beauty of we said it the other week, the beauty of collaboration, the beauty of having that support, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's, you know, your cheerleaders. That's incredible. I think we're going to be hiring Serena for an event coming up. What can you tell us as well, maybe some of your, I know you're fairly new, but you must have already got some good relationships with some good clients. And maybe, like, has there been a success story in that, like, where, you know, you've got a lovely client? Oh, you smile at that. I love that.
I've got my first client, Bianca. Shout out to Bianca.
Hi, Bianca.
She is amazing. She's a multifaceted business owner. She does property, travel, baking. She's a social worker as well. She's a career coach. She does everything.
Wow.
And she hired me to help her just sort of manage all of them. So I do a little bit of everything, bit of travel, bit of property, bit of the baking side of things, bit of social work.
Wow.
But we actually became really good friends through me being her VA. She actually came to my launch party a couple of weeks ago, came to my house. And
oh, that's beautiful. And now she still uses your services?
Yes. So now I'm actually giving her to one of my VAs just so I have more time to focus on Pink Tiger and the marketing and networking. But that's
really beautiful. It shows you the relationships as well that you can form, aren't they, that are life-changing. What's one misconception you think that people have maybe about running a virtual assistant kind of agency? So, because we're still new about learning all this, aren't we?
Yeah, I think sometimes people think that virtual assistants in general, or running a VA agency, you have to have many qualifications. You've got to go to uni for it. You don't. But
you are so educated, right? But you're still using those skills, I suppose, to educate in a different way. But you don't actually have to have that. Then.
No, not at all. So the way I became a VA, it was another day where I sat by the phone, dressed up, waiting to go to work, and no one called, and I just in tears. I was in tears. I'm just like, I can't keep doing this. I need to make money. Yeah. My daughter's asking for Barbie and this and that and the other, and I can't give it to her. I want to give her a life, the life that my parents wanted to give to me but didn't have the opportunity to. I want to now do that and pass on the legacy. And it was just it was frustrating, really frustrating. And I just prayed. I said, Lord, I need something. I need something. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have much, but I need something. And I prayed, and I went onto TikTok, and one of the first videos that came up was like, I had to become a virtual assistant. And I was like,
so did you take that serious at that time?
Oh my God,
you started to do your research?
I was desperate.
Really? Yeah.
Straight then, and I said, okay, what I'm going to do, I like writing things down. I write things down like all the time. Notepads everywhere, all over the house.
You're that paper diary.
Yes,
I've got a friend who likes a paper diary. We're all electric diary, and we're like,
I'm a bit of both.
To get home to get the paper diary. I'm like, okay. So you're a bit of both.
Yeah. So I sat down and I wrote down all of the skills I've acquired over the years. So I wrote down everything. So I've been in admin before, bookkeeping, accountancy, education. I've been a waitress. I've done a lot of things. So I wrote down every skill that I've acquired over the years.
Yeah.
And when I started writing, I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be a really short list. By the end, it was literally a full A4 sheet of paper. Everything, touch typing, copywriting, customer service, literally a full list, invoicing, bookkeeping. I was like, oh wow, okay, so maybe I can do this. And
do you know what? We don't do that enough for ourselves. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like you said, you already thought I was going to be such a short list, and then you started writing, and the skills that you have. So transferable into so
I couldn't believe
things.
it. Like I was looking at the list like, really?
Yeah.
Did I make some of this up? But no.
I think what's beautiful to hear as well, Serena, is, having your daughter that really change things for you, change direction in where you want to go, what you want for your life, what you want for your daughter's life, what you want for your family's life. And you're appreciative of everything that your family provided.
Oh my God,
but you wanted even more for your daughter. So then you've hustled and you're building something which is incredible. I know it's going to be amazing.
Thank you.
How do you balance now, though, your creative vision with obviously now running a business? Because we've spoken a bit about this on the podcast before, and I think it's the hardest thing sometimes for the creatives when you're so creative and you're running a business. It's really difficult to get that balance, isn't it?
It is.
How do you manage
I'll be honest,
that?
I'm not managing it. I'm struggling in it. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
But I do like to set in boundaries. There are certain times of the night where I won't work, or if I'm really tired, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to bed, and I'll wake up earlier and do what I need to do. But yeah, just sort of finding little pockets of time, because my daughter has a very strict schedule, just for the purpose of me being able to run my business as well.
Yeah.
Before actually start becoming a VA, there was no routine at all. There was no bedtime. There was no dinner time. It was just ad hoc.
Yes.
And
how old is your daughter now?
She's 2.5.
2, okay.
Yeah.
So still, that's an age where it's quite demanding. You need to be there for a lot. So yeah, you have to have that boundaries and shut off time. What does the future of Pink Tiger look like for you?
Oh, massive.
Tell us, share it with us.
Speaking to existence.
Inspire everyone out there today.
Helping creatives all over the globe.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Anyone who can afford our services. And I've made it super affordable for that purpose, because a lot of VA services can be really pricey.
Yeah.
And I get it. There are people that, yes, charge your worth. There is a bit of that. And I understand that. But I also want creatives to shine. I want... Yeah.
And I think there's something in creatives that they're not always the industry that it might look glamorous, right? But it's actually most of the time where creatives, they struggle the most financially in some of the areas, don't they? You speak with, I don't know, people that work in industry and stuff, they're waiting on invoices to be paid. So it's not always the most easiest in the creative world to then think, oh my gosh, I've got to find that money.
And that's why I thought it was really pointless charging like hundreds of pounds. That's pointless. If I'm trying to help a creative, I have to sort of, not to say that all creatives earn less, but
they don't. It's such a mixture, isn't it?
Exactly. And I want it to suit anyone.
And is there any exciting plans that you can share with us? So obviously you're building, you're expanding.
Yes.
More. Is there anything else that's exciting for you?
Just hiring more people, really. Expanding the team. That's it really.
So if there's anybody that's watching that has thought about even being a virtual assistant, and you could say to them today, like, do it. What's a few skills that you would just say that these are kind of essential skills that you would need to have, though?
I think number one is admin. So learn email management. You can learn on TikTok. That's where I learned. Calendar management.
Yeah.
What else? A bit of invoicing. So learn how to create an invoice, what an invoice looks like, because that really does help as a VA. Okay. Because obviously now your client doesn't now have to employ or hire someone else from outside. Like you can do it all basically. Okay. It's a little bit of bookkeeping, just understanding a bit of how finance works. Email management, calendar management, social media management as well. That's a really good service to offer, because again, your client doesn't have to now have 2 people.
Yes.
You as one VA.
Yeah.
Working your way around Canva. Other systems like Notion, Dubsado, Trello. There are so many.
Wow.
There are loads.
There are lots of different platforms.
ClickUp. Yeah, but I think it's really overwhelming. I think pick one and master that.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you can even sell yourself as saying that, this is what you're really good in.
Yeah. And obviously you're open for people to contact you, reach out to you. You want to build this business. You want as many virtual assistants as well on board that you can. Now, how do you envision scaling without losing that personal? Because obviously you're quite like unique in what you're offering and your brand and stuff. But I suppose as you grow, how will you, ensure that you don't lose that? Because you're going to start employing so many different people from everywhere, aren't you? Is there something that you will do to make sure that everybody is kind of within your brand?
I'm still very strict with the vetting process, and I will be going forward. That's never going to change ever. You have to be someone who understands it. It's not just, I need a job, hire me. No, it's you have to understand and be passionate about the vetting. I mean, not the vetting process, but passionate about creatives. Because when I put out a job post on Reddit, because I was trying to do Facebook posts when I first started this agency. I was trying to do Facebook posts, but with Facebook you need to have your account for 3 months. There's so many little things, and it wasn't allowing me to sort of put the job posts on Facebook groups. So I was like, okay, where else can I use? Let me try Reddit. So I went into a virtual assistant forum on Reddit. and just said, hey, I'm starting a new agency, especially for creatives, and I just want people on board. I want to hire some people. So I put out a job post, made it really in depth, obviously the pay and what we offer, etc. And 322 people applied. I could not believe it. It was one job post and that was it. 322 VAs applied. But I thought it was going to take me a really long time
to filter
through. But as I was going through, I saw people who have responded, like literally copied and pasted their response from ChatGPT. It's like, nope. Their resumes, they had literally gotten an AI image. Nope. I want to see people that have taken the time, and I understand. Yes, time.
I mean, let's like clean that up a little bit, because to do the don'ts for us. Yeah, there's a couple there. I mean, ChatGPT.
Take out the hyphens when you're using ChatGPT. Take out the hyphens.
Yeah, otherwise it's like just so obvious, right? Yeah,
they're called EM dashes. Take them out. Replace them with a comma or a semicolon, something
to make it look human.
Yes.
And what else was that? I don't do the AI image.
The AI profile photo on your resume. Okay. Yeah, because I can see it does not.
Big no-nos.
Yeah.
You want to know the person, right? You want to know the.
Exactly.
Do you think we're getting a bit caught up though? Like, tell us a little bit how AI like works within your business. Do you use it? I suppose you can use it in good ways and in bad.
We do. We do use AI. We use one of the systems we use is Dubsado, and there are some sort of workflows and automations which are powered by AI.
Yeah.
So for example, let's say a client contacts me or wants to book a call. After the call, they're sent an email with the proposal. Those are all sent automatically. So the back and forth is actually sent automatically through AI, which obviously I put up all of the templates onto Dubsado, so I know obviously what it's going to say, but it sends it out automatically. Even with my VAs, I do encourage them to use AI, but again, if you're going to use ChatGPT, don't just copy. Like if you're trying to get some captions for a client for social media, don't just copy and paste the. Use it as inspiration. That's always my advice. Use it as inspiration. Okay, so like for example, you have a client who is a cake baker and you want some inspiration for a caption for, I don't know, some Christmas cakes, for example. Use ChatGPT as inspiration and just pull out little bits and put it together in a way that would make sense, in a way that's human, but don't just copy and paste. That's that's one of my personal icks. When I see that anywhere, it's just,
you're like, she's icked out. And what advice would you give to someone who has maybe a business idea at the moment, but they haven't taken that leap yet?
Just start it rubbish. If you have no logo, just start your Instagram. If you don't know, I don't know, whatever it may be, just start. Fix it later on when you have the time. Obviously you will have time, but just start it. Just begin, because that gives you accountability. I think if I didn't start Pink Tiger, if I didn't hire my team, I don't think I would be as far as I am now, even though we've only just started. But I don't think, I think I would have thrown in the towel a lot sooner than I think just keep yourself accountable. Just start it. Start the Instagram page. If it's an Instagram you need to start, just check for a username. I think that's the first and foremost.
Yes.
Check for an Instagram username, see if it's available.
Yeah.
Sign up, get your account.
Yeah.
Go onto Canva. If you need to do a Canva logo, I mean, you can do an AI logo now as well, which is really quite cool. You can create logos on ChatGPT.
I mean, I learn every week, you know. Like my head is going like this. Like me and Serena will talk after, because there's just so much, isn't there? Even for us creators, we're like, there's so much to like out there at the moment that it can be very overwhelming.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah,
and to keep up with everything, your social media, your website, your this and network, and so it's a lot. And what's one thing that you want creative entrepreneurs to really remember after they listen to you today? Because I think there's a lot of creative entrepreneurs out there. I'm one of them. But what would you want us to really hear from what you're telling us about Pink Tiger today?
My main thing is that you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to wait until you're a millionaire to then hire a team. You can actually start now if you have the disposable income to do so. You'll get further, basically. If you have someone who can do that 40% of time with the admin, you've now got so much more, almost half the time to now focus on networking and, It's still an area, like I'm still sitting here like I need a virtual assistant, but I'm still like, I am still understanding how to navigate that and understand. So you've actually helped me with understanding that a bit more today.
I mean, there's going to be so much, I think, that happens for you over the next, this is something quite new for you. You're putting everything into it. I can feel the passion, the energy, and I hope it makes a real success for you and your daughter as well. And obviously, if there are people out there that want to be a virtual assistant, need a virtual assistant, they are to contact you.
Yes.
Pink Tiger Virtual Assistants. And we can find you on all your socials as well.
Yeah, so my Instagram is hire, HIRE, Pink Tiger. My website is www.pinktiger.co.
Great.
And that's it.
And just go back, did you grow up in London?
Yeah.
Are you London based, Serena?
Southeast.
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 Okay, amazing. And so if anybody that's watching, anybody international, global, they can still be a part of the team. That is so good. Yeah. Well, as you know as well, we are live. So and we've got our lovely live audience. And we like to ask if there's any questions, because people may have questions that I haven't thought of. Are you okay with answering those questions?
Yeah.
Great. So live audience, help us out here. Have you got any questions?
Hello, I've been monitoring the online audience questions. I just want to say congratulations on your business. We love Pink. We love that you think Pink, and we love that. Yeah, and we love that you've rebranded it. But let me jump straight in. So somebody's asked, what's the difference between an EA and a VA?
So an executive assistant is someone who, they're usually in person, but you can have online EAs, and they deal with your whole life. So even down to your children's clubs,
right?
Everything, your food shopping, it's in the title, executive assistant. Right. So they help with even sort of more important sort of financial assistance as well. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
So to add to that question, then, you personally, do you have your own VA?
No, I don't. But I'm in the process of hiring a social media manager.
Hey. Yes. Brilliant.
And what has been the hardest client so far to date? I mean, without you disclosing too much, because obviously you had to sign NDAs. But what has been the most difficult situation you've had to try and broker during your launch of your business?
I don't know. I don't think I have one. We have fantastic clients.
Yay!
I like to meet with clients before I onboard them. So if I don't click with you, it's a no.
Yeah.
So my last question. So what would be something that's out of your range, or in terms of the services that you offer? For instance, if somebody wanted you to book them into, I don't know, a spa weekend.
No, we can do that.
But it may not be literally a spa. It could be something that's a little bit more, something else other than the spa. I'm just saying, is there anything that you don't do? Do you have sort of like a handbook of things that you will not categorically do in your business?
We're very big on morals. So if anything doesn't align with us morally, it's a no. But if there is anything that, let's say, for example, you need your food shop done online once a month, we're more than happy. We do miscellaneous tasks. We do your online errands. Let's say you need to get a birthday present for a client or for a family member. We can do that for you. Just anything that you just don't have time for. That's it. But
do you know what? I think that's what it is at the moment, Serena. I talk to a lot of friends and a lot of family, and it's the one thing we all talk about is the time.
Yeah.
Why does there seem to be less time now? There's still the same hours in the day that we've had since we were young, but there definitely is something that is time.
Yeah.
And I think if anything that can alleviate that pressure of what you're going through and the lack of time, and give you back some time that you can do other things like spend time with your children or do, I think that is just a bonus. So what an incredible business that you have created.
Thank you so much.
And I can't thank you enough for sharing that with us. I'm definitely going to be keeping in contact with Serena because I definitely feel a VA is needed in my life. So I'm going to be learning more about her. You are on F the News as well, and we always ask our guests, what is your favourite F word?
Oh, as in anything beginning with F?
Anything beginning with F.
Oh, I'll say it. No, I'm joking. Beginning with F.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fierce.
Because she's fierce. She's bringing that pink tiger, fierce energy. Yes, that was a good answer, Serena. We always like to do that. It throws people Serena has been amazing joining me on the sofa today, and thank you so much for all your questions as well. I think you're going to all join me as well in just wishing her every success with this business. This is a new business that she's launched, and we are going to be behind you every step of the way.
Thank you so much.
Empowering, inspiring so many. Thank you so much, Serena, for being with me.
Thank you.
We are going to take a quick break, but we will be back because we have a second guest joining me on the sofa. So please stay around with us. And welcome back. Thank you for still staying with us, guys. So as you know, at F the News, this is the place where stories take centre stage and extraordinary talent meets unstoppable ambition. Today, we are joined by a true powerhouse of British theatre. She's not just a triple threat. She is a creative force, redefining what it means to be on both stage and behind the scenes. You've seen her light up the West End as Nancy in Oliver, Ellen in Miss Saigon, Rachel Maron in The Bodyguard, and so many more iconic roles. But the spotlight doesn't stop there. She is also the visionary behind musicalcon and West End Musical Brunch. And she is an award-winning producer who brought unforgettable productions like Four Black Boys, Bat Boy the Musical, and West End Musical Celebration to life. With accolades including the Black British Theatre Awards, the Lord Michael Hastings Achievement Award, and a place in the stage's top 25 theatre makers, she's not just making waves, she is shaping the future of theatre. From centre stage to centre strategy, please welcome the incomparable, and I'm really excited, Shanay Holmes. Welcome. Take a seat, relax now. We've done the big reveal.
Oh my gosh, honestly.
Get comfortable.
That reveal was amazing.
Yeah.
I was getting quite emotional listening to you say all those amazing things.
That's you.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we are talking
That's
about
so
you.
lovely.
Like, first of all, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh my god.
Like, I'm a super fan. Like, I'm so excited. So I've got to hold my nerves for this one. But we're going to go back. I want to know, Shanay, because obviously we know, the amazing, stage presence that you have. But take us back a little bit to Shanay, the young Shanay. How did you get into this? Baby Shanay.
I think that getting into this is my whole story of where I've come from. Really, I grew up with an incredibly strong woman, single mother of 3. And, grew up in a council home, really on the breadline. And we didn't have, really at points, we didn't have anything.
Yeah.
So how I'm here at this moment in time is really kind of extraordinary. And I think it's really a testament to her as a woman, but also just instilling in me that even though she didn't know how, she really instilled that notion to follow your dreams and follow your life goals. And I think sometimes that's the magic of an empowering woman, is that it's not the how, it's not about having all of the answers, because she didn't have the answers.
No.
I always knew I wanted to sing. I always knew I wanted to perform. There was a certain level of connection that I felt every time I was put on stage as a kid, in school plays. Some people, that's their idea of like terror.
Yes.
But for me, it was the only place I felt really like myself. And it was the only place that I felt truly understood by the people around me. There was something that was happening that was greater than myself.
Wow.
That made me want to always be on stage. And like I said, it was like a wrestle of, do you go to drama school? Couldn't afford to go.
Yeah.
Then what do you do? So I started going to open auditions.
Did you?
And I got picked up by a casting director called Pippa Alien.
Yes.
And
shout out to Pippa.
Yeah, Pippa. Come on, Pippa.
Yeah, Pippa. Well done, Pippa.
Yeah.
It takes that one person though, doesn't it?
One person just to see
It really
you.
does. It really does.
And she saw me, and I didn't get the job that I auditioned for that time with her, but I did get her support.
Yes.
And she then connected me with 10 agents in the West End, and I went for meetings with all of them, and I ended up agreeing on one that just was suitable. And then 3 months after that, I was in my first West End contract.
And how old were you then?
I was 21.
Look at that.
Then
how was that for your family when that happened?
it was mad. It was Michael Jackson. It was Thriller Live.
Yes, Thriller Live.
And I love MJ.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was so fitting that it was pop, that it was MJ, that it was that show.
Yeah.
That gave me my first road into West End. And then shortly after that was The Bodyguard, which another black female icon, like Whitney Houston. It was just,
beautiful.
I grew up just singing her music. So yeah, and then from then the rest is kind of,
I mean, there's like so much to it. But I mean, so you've touched on you've had such a dynamic career, right, on stage. Like you've just mentioned two, and already I'm like, whoa. You know, these are kind of achievements that a lot of people are aspiring to, and you've done so much. But what first, sparked your love for performing? I mean, listening to your story, I resonate with that. I'm from a single mother household. There was 3 of us as well, and it was tough.
Yeah,
you know,
it's tough.
And I had that same passion for that creative, where I always wanted to entertain the family and be the singer and the dancer and stuff. But you know, what kind of still kept you driven, despite what was going on in your actual environment? Was mum really supportive of sending you to kind of any drama spaces that she could?
No, I had this is so weird. My training was my mum getting me to stand on what she would call the hotspot in the living room, and she would call it the hotspot. And if we had people round, or there's always kids in the house, if you come from that background, then the house is always full. People with nothing are always the most generous people with their time, with what little they have.
They use the village, don't they? They use that environment,
And that's what it was. So it was like, stand on the hotspot and sing, Madonna's new record, or stand on the hotspot and do, whatever it was. So it was just that feeling of just consistently practicing and honing in on something that I could focus on that would stop all the external noise. And also, I think when you come from a place where people have the expectation that you're not going to amount to anything, or that you are not enough, or that you're certainly looked down upon, because the area that I was brought up in was a predominantly white area. And I think coming from a low income family, in the area that I lived in, certainly when I went to school, there would be other families from different classes that would definitely just expect less from you.
Yes.
And then you have that spark in you that wants to just prove everyone wrong, no matter what it takes. And I just had that drive of ambition as to, like, I always say thank you to anyone who ever suggested to me or my family that I wouldn't amount to anything, or that where I came from wasn't good enough, because that installed in me something that was greater than myself.
And we have to just thank those people.
You have to say thanks for that, because it hurt at the time, but it fueled something that made me so determined to be more than any of them could ever consider.
And all what you've achieved now. Wow. Now you're currently playing Nancy in Oliver.
Yes.
It's an iconic role. I've seen it like 3 times. If you haven't, please.
The applause.
The little applause. Yeah. What has this character taught you, do you think, as an actor and as a woman?
Nancy is just so incredible to play. It's such a big thing, isn't it? Oliver, full stop. If you say Oliver to someone in the UK, it's like in our DNA.
Yeah, we all know Oliver. Everybody will know Oliver, or a song from Oliver.
Yeah. So you have a strong idea of this incredible woman that you have, fictional character that you have loved.
Yes.
And I love the film, and it's a film that when it used to come on at Christmas time, everyone used to pile on the sofa and watch.
Yes.
Because it's Oliver.
Yeah.
And particularly like Shanay Holmes playing Nancy, I just fell in love with her.
Yeah.
And who didn't? Because it's Nancy.
Yeah.
So to get the opportunity to play that role as a woman of colour, particularly, is just
Yes.
unbelievable. And a big shout out to Sonia Swaby, because she was the first woman of colour to play Nancy back in the day. And I remember seeing YouTube videos of her and just being like, wow. But I really wanted to approach the role and the work truthfully.
Yes.
And really from a place as a woman, particularly now, retelling this story.
Yeah.
It is one of those ones that you see and you think, is this just a show that is just being revived because it's part of UK culture and, you know, it's a loved musical and the songs are great. We wanted to do so much more for the show than that.
Yeah.
And Matthew Bourne, the director, is incredible, and
Yeah.
Cameron McIntosh, we all had the same kind of idea that really I wanted to make Nancy as truthful as possible and as relatable now to women as humanly possible, and not present like a caricature or an over exaggerated version of this person we think we know. I wanted to introduce people more intimately to her.
Yes.
And that means tapping into things within yourself as a woman that I have experienced domestic abuse. I have witnessed domestic abuse. I wanted to really honor any woman who came to watch the show.
Yeah.
If they have experienced that, and so many women do. I mean, it's when people ask, why is this relevant? Why is the character relevant? There is 1 in 6 women that are experiencing domestic violence in the UK. The statistics are incredible. When I did research about it, I think it's something like 2 women a week still are, deaths are caused at the hands of domestic violence by their partner or ex-partner. This is a serious issue now. And it's as serious as ever. And I wanted just to ensure that I was advocating for women in a truthful and honest way. And I wanted people to watch the show and watch this version of her and understand and have a conversation or spark something within them that where they felt that they needed to address or talk about the portrayal of it. And I think we achieved that.
You absolutely have,
really
because I have been and seen it, and it's so powerful. And even touching on that, you are a real powerful advocate, right, for diversity and even inclusion in theatre, and even just your passion where you've just spoken about, just resonating with women that are going through. What has been the journey though, like really navigating that, especially representation on West End stage? How has that been? Because I think there's still a lot of stigma around it. There's still a lot of young creatives that feel like I've not got a chance, but you are now showing that representation. You're bringing that hope, you're bringing that, but how is it actually been navigating that?
It's very difficult to you have to be of a fearless mentality, and it's a very difficult thing to navigate, particularly the business side as well as the performance side. And I am very, very lucky, and I'm very, very grateful that people have seen things in me that haven't been stereotypically in my arsenal. So when you look at the earlier parts of my career, I am being hired to do things like MJ, like Bodyguard, things that you would associate to someone who looks like me. And recently that started to shift, where actually people are starting to view me as an actor and take me seriously in terms of actually being able to sing this more legit part of musical theatre. And therefore that's opened up other things. So Ellen in Miss Saigon, there had never been a woman of colour that had played that role. And that was a really amazing platform where people had heard me sing like that for the first time. And I remember so many people being like, wow, you can sing like that.
And you're like,
and it's like,
what?
I've just been singing Whitney
Yeah.
Houston. How does?
Yeah.
But it's
They
so
couldn't.
interesting,
Yeah.
the response to the two different things that really start to, have really shown me why representation really matters. Because I think what happens a lot is people are boxed.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, okay, that is a black performer, therefore they can only do this.
Yes.
Or they should be only doing
and they're
this.
kept in that box
100%. And it's our jobs to break that and say, like, no, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's all these amazing things. And Ellen and Nancy have definitely provided that.
Yeah. And I think you being in the spaces that you are, and people being in the spaces that they are, it's about breaking those barriers, isn't it? It's about making those changes. Even you speaking so passionate about what you wanted to bring to the character of Nancy, but it was heard and it was listened to. That's a start in the right direction, and more needs to happen like that, doesn't it? On especially 100%. Across West End and so much of the industry, not just West End. We're not just tarnishing the West End, but
no.
So talking of that, you've played so many, like, wide range of roles, right? Glinda in the Wizard of Oz and stuff like there's so many. Do you have a role? I mean, Nancy, I can feel the real passion from Nancy, but is there any other role that you felt like maybe it was a turning point for you in your career?
For me, I think things started to shift around Ellen.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
There was a moment, I think people stopped thinking about The Voice and started thinking of me as an actor.
Yeah.
Because The Voice is just The Voice. It's something that I've always had and been able to do. And, when you hear someone who is a good singer, or you see an amazing singer on stage, you're just like, wow, amazing. But I think actually being an elite actor in musical theatre, the people that move you, I don't know if you've seen the clips from the Tony Awards, but Audra McDonald in Gypsy.
Oh no, I haven't seen, but I
have watched that clip about 1,000 times.
Really?
Please, after this, go and watch that clip.
I'm gonna watch.
Because something is happening on a different level. And it's jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
And it's actually nothing to do with what she's producing, like, sonically, what you can hear. Everything to do with what's happening internally. That is an actress that is just on another level. And then the performance, when it's put into musical theatre context, it's so moving. And that's, it's inspiring. It should be inspiring to all actors, whether, it doesn't matter what gender you are or what race you are.
Absolutely.
It's inspiring. But that's the level of performance that I want to aspire to be able to produce. And that's exciting. And that doesn't really matter what you're doing, but the important thing is that the acting is first. And everything else is, like, layered on top.
Of course,
but there's something real that's happening.
I love that. I mean, you've also, apart from the musical stage stuff, reading so much about you, because you're not only a performer, multi-award winning producer. What like, tell me about that. How did you inspire to go into kind of that side of the industry? Are you still doing that side? Like, how is that working for you?
We're still doing that side now with some more help, because before it was me and my husband who again is just so amazing. But myself and him are a very small, teeny percentage of black producers in the West End. And again, that is an issue within itself. And we're very proud to represent and to be able to support things and help produce things like for Black Boys, which was
absolutely outstanding. It was absolutely outstanding.
What
I watched
a play.
that. Yeah, absolutely. She loves the little round of applause.
I love it.
Yeah.
But what a play, and what an important piece of theatre to have in the big commercial stage that is West End. But
Are you so with you and your husband, with what you're doing, is there still a lot of challenges that you are both really facing?
Absolutely. Everything traditionally producing is is finding investors to invest in your productions, and then you produce the show. So you have the idea, you find loads of investors. Now that's really hard to do when you're from certain types of backgrounds, which is, you know, just in itself, it's one of those things. When you go to stage one, there's a course on production. The first thing they say is, you know, ask your friends and family, you know, have you got money to invest? This is where you start. So you ask someone for, you know, £1,000 to help you put on a play or whatever. But if you don't have that network of people, if you're not from that community,
which a lot of us that are in this industry now are not, you know, and there is this old school kind of the generation stigma, the privileged, you know, so that how they, what, you know, entered in, you know, into the art spaces, and it was always a privileged space, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
But
it's like
most of us in
space.
it now, we're underprivileged, but we are bringing the creativeness. So we need that support, don't we? We need 100%. That collaboration.
What there needs to be a different way, and the way we've done it is we started off with a very small idea that was a pop-up cinema. And we took all the profit from that, and then we put it back into something else, and then we put it back into brunch, and then we put it back into the drive-in, and then we eventually invested in musicalcon. But I mean, all of the things we produce are our own money that we have made and built.
So we need investors out there.
100%.
We need the investors. We need them to be listening.
But you don't get heard or seen unless you're taking that type of risk. And I mean, musicalcon is the biggest convention of its kind in the world. It's the biggest musical theatre fan convention in the world.
Wow.
And it is massive. It happens at the XL in London. And there's over 10,000 people that attend every year. That level of investment, when we first did that you know, you've got to be made of steel to be able to risk that kind of thing on an event. But we believed in it, and we had to do it. And I think that level of risk and like self-belief is the most crucial thing. But, you know, we will get there. We will keep on chipping away and keep on,
absolutely, you will
creating all these spaces for.
And you were, because I had the privilege of attending the Black British Theatre Awards as well.
Amazing.
So I saw you guys were there as well. You got some awards, right? And even that, like that's being, you know, created and stuff, it's so important that these things are happening, and the recognition is happening, and the support is happening, isn't it? I mean, you know, love to the Black British Theatre Awards, because it was incredible.
What an amazing
event. But why it's like we're having to create our own, aren't we?
100%.
Because it's not, you know, we're not getting in the spaces that we need to, so we're just having to create our own.
There is not enough. There are definitely some very clear issues when it comes to the diversity in all areas of theatre. Currently, that is a challenge that must be addressed, because when you go to the Black British Theatre Awards, you're sitting there and I'm thinking, wow, there's a casting director category here.
Shout out to casting director Selma, because I know her very well. She won that category on a job that I had casting associate on.
Opera,
which is the
direction.
first. It was the first time they've done it as well, which is incredible.
Exactly. There's so many incredible categories, and also you're surrounded by excellence, and you're thinking,
you are.
But when you are at something like, when there's other big award shows and you're sitting there and you're thinking,
you feel like this.
Why do we feel suddenly there's definitely disconnect?
So not important, so not relevant. So like, why do we feel like that in these other spaces?
Yeah, for sure. There's lots of improvement that can be made.
And I mean, holding on to kind of all that, do you feel like the landscape is changing though for Black performers and creatives, especially in musical theatre? Do you think we're still just scratching that surface?
I think there's still lots of work to do, but I do think the landscape is beginning to change, and I think it can only change from production and creative first. Because you have to remember, the producer first comes up with, I want to produce this show. And then therefore the producer grabs onto a team or looks for their creatives, then looks for or finds the work. And also, you know, Black writers. There are so many incredible, exciting.
There really are.
Black writers that are coming up right now. And you know, it's up to our allies.
Yeah.
A big shout out to Nika Burns, because she was the lead producer on For Black Boys.
Yeah,
She
shout
saw
out to
this
her.
play,
Absolutely.
and she said,
yeah,
let's go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it on Shaftesbury Avenue.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been anything like it.
No, there hasn't.
And
that got
sold
did
out.
It got two runs, didn't it?
And
Yes.
it sold out.
Yeah.
And the proof was in the pudding
It
that
really
black
was.
commercial theatre sells.
Yeah.
And
there is a demand for it.
100%.
Yeah. So we need to have it.
Yeah.
What are some things that you'd like to see change behind the curtain, maybe in casting rooms, production teams, and creative leadership?
I think there has to be a more openness to and facilitating support when it comes to black creatives, for sure. Because we're getting into this kind of gap where there could be opportunity, great opportunity, but we need to be able to support the people in being able to, for example, know that you could be a director and you could be a casting director.
I am.
She is.
I am. But yeah, it's so true.
But you see,
knowing
like
that
you could be a lighting designer in theatre. There's a space for you here, and that starts with education and schooling and outreach programs and all of those things. But also, like, you know, I didn't wake up and go one day, hey, I'm going to become a producer. I woke up and was like, okay, I'm out of work for the next 6 months. I want to perform. Am I going to wait for someone to say to me, hey, here's a stage for you to perform, or am I going to create the platform myself? And I created the platform for myself. And I think it needs that drive. And I wish I could say to, well, I will say to anyone listening, if you feel that you have got a calling, particularly when it comes to theatre, and you don't see yourself represented in whatever area it is you're looking at, you come into it, find a way and take up space. Like, I love that. There's no other option for it. Yeah, 100%.
And I think holding on to that, I think there's a lot of young people that can really listen and resonate with that as well. Any advice as well that you would give to anybody right now that's maybe training, or they've finished their training, you know, they've just spent their 3 years of vocational, they've done all their training in musical theatre? Any advice of, like, then now how they're going to navigate the industry, the do's and the don'ts?
The do's and the don'ts.
The do's and the don'ts.
I think, like, oh gosh, the do's and the don'ts. I think one of the biggest things I've learned is that you sometimes, particularly with entertainment, you get so obsessed with the final destination. You know, you think, like, I want to be playing Nancy right now. And I meet so many young women that come to stage door and they're like, my dream role is Nancy. And that is a fantastic goal to have. But I never really had a dream role. I wanted to make good work. That was truthful and honest. And my main goal, if I had to write it down, would be to be a renowned performer in my industry.
I love that.
So rather than give yourself like a specific, like, I want to play Elle Woods or I want to play Alpha, but that is incredible. But I think the bigger question is actually why you want to do that stuff, because there will, you know, you might be lucky enough to get there straight away, but most often you are met with no's, and you are met with 1,000 more no's,
of course,
than yeses. And that takes resilience. So whilst you're on that journey, whilst you're doing the smaller roles, whilst you're in the ensemble or you're a swing, which are all incredible parts of our industry that do not get enough love and support and praise, because these people are out here saving shows on a nightly basis. But whilst you're doing that, don't get complacent with the aim of the big moment. Know that that's what you want for yourself, but actually, if you say one line, make sure you're saying it and you're doing it and you're focusing in on it with the same amount of passion, focus and love, care and attention that you would if you were Elphaba, because it all comes in the years that really train you into getting to the place that I am now, which is the big one. It's like it's Nancy, but having not done all of those other roles, having not worked in fringe theatre, having not done the regional theatre, again shout out to regional theatre because it's so important and amazing.
Of course.
But that all gave me my training to enter this place that I am at now.
Yeah. And I think all of that is so important, and a lot of people need to listen to that more and enjoy the journey.
Yes.
Enjoy the process. Yeah. Take your time with it. I meet so many, artists, creatives, actors, dancers, whatever. And a lot of the time I'm like, you're rushing for that one dream job that you think is your dream job.
Yeah.
But there are so many that you could be missing along the way.
100%. If you had told me 10 years ago I would be playing Nancy now, it's not the role that I ever thought I would ever get the opportunity to play.
Yeah.
It was not a role that I kind of had set my hopes or eyes on. It's something that came up from focusing on other things, and it's so right.
Yeah.
And I resonate with her so much. It almost feels like an extension of myself to play her. But I wouldn't have been able to guess it. No. I wouldn't have been able to tell you that that's what was going to happen to me in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
But what I did focus on were the things that I could. And like I said, no in this industry is the most common word that anyone is ever going to hear. And it's hard, and it only gets harder the longer it happens. But if you truly believe that you're able to do it, then just after that last no could be the biggest yes in your career.
Yeah.
And I felt like that just before Nancy. I had done Ellen, so I'd played Ellen in Miss Saigon, and I'd loved that job. And I got into the final for a show that I thought, I'm definitely gonna get this. The casting director's seen me as Ellen. They've said, you are up there in my must-haves in the room. I got into the final. I went to the final. I thought I had the most amazing audition. And then I waited a week. I didn't hear anything. And then I heard from my agent, and she said, it's a no. And I just was like, I can't do this anymore. No. This is just, this is unbearable.
Really, it's hard. It's really difficult.
And then the cast breakdown came out for it, and I could feel myself feeling that resentment that I'm talking about, that kind of complacency where I was just like,
Yeah.
And we were on holiday, and I actually threw my phone, and I said, I'm not doing it. Like, I told my agent, don't contact me for a while. Really? I need a break. I just need a moment of stop. And then the phone rang about 3 weeks later, and she said, I know you've told me not to call, but this is for Nancy in the new production of Oliver. And I said, okay. And I looked at the script, and I thought, I'm probably not going to get it, but I'm just going to go and audition for it anyway. And it was
meant to be. Look at that. The door shuts.
Yes.
Another one opens.
Yes.
That's how we have to be in life sometimes, though, don't we?
100%.
As much as that no was so painful,
horrible,
was so made you go, I don't even want to do this no more.
Yeah.
That's the resilience kicks in. And in the industry, we have to have a lot of resilience, don't we?
Yeah.
So going back, you said, you mentioned for Black Boys, and you produced.
Yeah.
That tale was vital, like nuanced stories as well at the moment. What drew you to that project? Like,
so this is why I say shout out to Nika Burns. Nika Burns is NIMAX, so NIMAX Theatre Group, massive production house. They own their own theatres, all of the things. But Nika Burns is a trailblazing woman in theatre.
We love trailblazers.
Oh my gosh, she has been at it for a while, and she's just inspiring. And she came and saw, when it was the lockdown, me and Chris produced the first live but isolated experience for West End performers. So we produced West End Musical Drive-In, where performers could come and perform like in a concert forum, and people would just drive in their cars, remain in their cars, and instead of clapping, they would like honk their horns.
I love that.
Like, imagine like
the
300 cars.
Yeah. I've been to some drive-through cinemas. It's so much fun.
Right,
Yeah.
but
That's such
we
a good
did that
idea.
in lockdown because we just didn't know what else to do.
Because no one could like be in contact with each other, could they?
Yeah.
Either? That's a really good idea.
And she came and watched one of them, and she wrote me an email, a beautiful email, and she said, "Look, I have an affinity with you, that your tenacity in terms of what you've done here." She did, she took her life savings and she produced a play at the Edinburgh Fringe, a play for herself, and that's where her production kicked in. Like I said, you've got to be ready to risk it all.
You've got to have the guts, you've got to make them sacrifices.
And now she's one of the biggest producers on West End. So it was her who first brought us into the commercial forum of producing concerts in her theatres on the West End. So she, you would consider her for sure in her position as a gatekeeper, and she definitely opened that gate and said, "I love what you're doing. I want to support what you're doing. If you ever want to do it commercially in a theatre, I would be open to helping you with that." And she did. And I have to shout the whole of NIMAX, her and Lawrence, out, because that's what I'm talking about. She was in a position of power and authority, and she opened that door, and she saw For Black Boys, and she asked us, "Would you like to come on board as associate producers?"
I love that.
So again, created that opportunity for us.
I love that.
That's what it needs.
And when you hear things like that, it gives us so much hope in the industry that there is still people that are gate opening.
Oh, 100%.
Because there's a lot of gatekeeping.
Yes.
So we need more gate openers.
Yeah, we need the gate openers. We need the
gate
Nikas and the Lawrences.
Please.
Like 100%.
Yeah,
to be able to just go, "This is great.
There you go.
Let me help you get onto this platform."
Yeah. Now, what's been your most rewarding moment in your career so far? So that can be like on stage, off stage, anything. Like, what's been the most rewarding for you?
I think musicalcon is so big. I mean, when we first launched that, it was literally, me calling around my friends and being like, "Hey, we're going to do this thing. Do you want to, come and do a meet and greet, or do you want to perform at it?" And they didn't know what it was.
Yes.
And when we launched, I remember we sold out 3,000 tickets in the space of 48 hours.
Gosh,
That's took over the industry.
Yeah, give her that clap. Give her that clap. Wow. I'll give you both that clap.
But Chris Stewart, my husband, I just adore him.
Of you that clap.
And we were like, okay. And the great thing about the XL is that you can extend space. So we extended space once, then twice, and then by the end it was 3 times as big as what we had thought it was going to be on year one. And that was mind-blowing. And then obviously we were like, okay, we have to do this idea now. We have to make it a real thing. It's not just an idea anymore. One of our biggest sponsors and stand holders, exhibitors on year one were Disney. And I remember walking through the woods, walking the dogs, having like a little headspace moment. Yeah. And I just had a total breakdown. And Chris was like, "What is wrong?" And I said, "We can't let Disney down." Like, when you just think something's so much more bigger than you, and you just think, what is going on? Yeah. And I had a whole community there that had bought tickets, and my friends and my peers and all these people that were associated to the event that believed in us. Yeah. And I just didn't want to let them down. And year one happened, and I had this moment that is like an out-of-body experience. I remember it for the rest of my life. We got into the XL, and there's nothing in the XL. If you've ever seen it empty, it's like an air hanger. Yeah. There's not even carpet.
It's just huge as well, isn't it? It's like this empty,
just this space.
Yeah.
And I stood on the stage once it was set up, and the stage manager was asking me, where do you want the chairs for this set up? Where do you want to do? And her voice just became like, white noise.
Oh gosh.
And I just basically went into freeze. And my best friend had arrived and was like, "Hello, Shanay," and I didn't even realize she was standing there for about 5 minutes. I just had an out of body experience of sheer fear.
This was fear taking over.
And then the next morning, and I remember looking at the ground and thinking, is this enough space, or is it too much space for the amount of people that have bought tickets? Is it going to feel full, or will it be cramped?
Yes.
Or will it feel empty?
Yeah.
And then the next morning, when everyone had arrived, I opened the whole thing with the opening ceremony. I walked out on stage with a mic to sing the beginning of Pure Imagination, and I was there's a video of it, and I'm visibly shaking, and I just look at the ground, and it's people's faces, and you just think, oh my goodness,
That's giving me goosebumps.
Is like
wow.
something that has been a very clear idea.
Yes, and now it's in front
and
of you.
And it is fully tangible. Yeah,
the
I can
vision
touch it.
is there.
Yeah, and I can't explain to you what this community means to me, or how incredible this community is. And I'm so proud that I get to call it my community.
I love that.
Of musical theatre fans, but they are the most joyous.
Yeah.
Respectful, loving, embracing, kind community to belong to. And that's just what musicalcon feels like.
That is so beautiful to hear.
There are people that come to stage door now to watch Oliver that will say, "Thank you for musicalcon," or "I'll see you at musicalcon," or "My daughter looks forward to it all year," or thinks about it all year. Yeah. And that just, I can't put into
so
words
much,
what that means. Yeah. To me, it's just an amazing, beautiful thing, and there's not many things like it now. I can't think of something that makes me feel like that, let alone
huge.
It's just amazing.
Well
I'm very proud of it.
For that. That's beautiful to hear. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Oh, I've got to be part of the musical community.
Yeah, you really do.
That's me. I'm now part of there. Absolutely. Yeah, let me host it. Let's 100%. Go. Now, I wanted you to go back as well a little bit. So if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice.
Yes.
Before you stepped into the spotlight, what would that be?
Oh gosh. It would be, I just want to reassure her that everything was going to be okay.
Okay.
Because I think when you come from a certain walk of life, there's so much fear that's driving your ambition. Yeah. Because you're so scared of, you want to be, well, certainly I wanted to be the provider of my family. I wanted to make sure they were okay. I wanted to make sure that their future was better, that my future was better.
Yeah.
And I think I would just want to say that everything's going to be okay, and that you must be fearless in your self-belief at how far that you are able to go.
That's so powerful.
And I think, that's what I want to say to her. But it's the biggest one is that everything's going to be okay, because there's so many moments where you just don't feel that it's going to be fine.
There's a lot of hurdles, right?
100%. Yeah. And there's lots of the voices only get louder, I think.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that the more successful you become, or certainly what people view as external success, the louder those voices become.
Yeah.
They're quiet in the beginning, because you're just trying out. But the bigger the platform, there's no amount of external validation that can quiet the internal validation that you need to be able to give yourself.
Yes.
And that's what I've learned this year. Opening on the West End. I remember the Royal Variety performance.
Yeah.
The show hadn't opened in London, and you're standing at the Royal Albert Hall, and someone came up to me and was like, "You're about to sing As Long As He Needs Me on the Royal Albert Hall in front of the King."
Gosh. Look at this.
In Cameron Mackintosh's production of Oliver as Nancy.
This is like,
how do you feel?
Yeah.
And all I could think, and again, I can't even remember actual performing part. I now only remember it because I've watched the video. I've watched the footage.
You've watched it back.
But being in it, I just had this overwhelming feeling of, I will not let down my ancestors today.
That is powerful.
I had it in me. It was so strong. Like, this is all I'm thinking about.
Absolutely. She's going to make me cry. Wow.
It was just such a thing. And it was one of my good friends. I remember being nervous about something else, and she first said that to me. And that is just the force of it. It feels like, no. Yeah. It's just too great a moment and a thing.
Where I am right now.
Yes.
Where I am standing, what I am achieving.
Yeah. It's on the shoulders of a million.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 100%.
I love that. Do you feel, because do you get a sense of, because obviously you started out, even in the beginning of our conversation, you felt different when you was on stage. That was your kind of confidence, that was your space. So, but do you now, when you go out and do performances like night after night, I mean, Oliver's it's quite heavy, right? How many shows a week do you do?
Well, I do 6 now.
6
because
shows a week,
I mean, the 8 is just, I've done 8 for almost a year.
That's a lot.
And I think when it got into the consistency of it, and I was consistent, but Cameron loves his shows to be 110%. And there's a cost. If you've seen the show and you've seen this version of Nancy, there's a cost. And there's no like half baking.
There isn't absolutely with that
Either
role.
It's like full tears, full snot, full crying. Like when it gets into certain, full shouting. So I do 6 now, and that is just fantastic.
Good.
But still,
do you still get any sense of nerves though, like night after night, or is it you're going on stage? Is this the place where you love to be? But is there still that sense of like that nervousness at times?
There is at times, but opening night was, there was part of me that wanted to hide in a corner in the fetal position and say, I don't want to do it.
Is that because was that a fear maybe of like where we spoke about the validation, or what were people going to say? What was that? Where did that come from? Why was you doing that?
I think it's just like I said, I think with this role, and because of the producer and because of what it means to people, you just don't want to let anyone down.
You don't.
So there's that tiny voice that there's that inner, people have different names for it. We've named mine Igor, because because we say Igor the ego.
Igor the ego. Oh, I like that.
But some people say saboteur or whatever. That voice that says actually no one's going to like this, or this isn't going to be good enough, or maybe you're going to crack on that note. Those horrible things that you say to yourself. I have actually learned this year that no one could say something to me that is going to be even close to as worse as the things that I would say to myself.
Yes.
Like, I have heard that voice say some crazy stuff.
Wow.
That I think no one would ever say this to me. Why is this voice somewhere in the back saying this stuff?
Yeah.
But it's that other healthy part that has to step forward. And like I said, I think the moment that for me that you take it outside of yourself and that it's bigger than you, what you're about to do, what it means to, the 10-year-old little mixed race girl who is watching you do that. That is so different. That has a different purpose than what you have to do for yourself alone.
Absolutely.
And there's a quote that I saw a few weeks ago, and this is kind of sums it up. It's like, your purpose is not what you do. It's how people feel when you're doing what you do.
Absolutely.
And that for me is the biggest thing, that feeling, that I want to make people feel something here that they will talk about and take away or think about, and that's how that voice is quiet. But my God, it's just you're leading a show. You're a leading lady in a show.
You are,
There's no hiding.
No.
and
there's
you're
no
left.
going in that corner, being in that fetal
No,
position. You
there's-
are
There's
at
no
that stage. Yeah.
at the back.
No.
You are on stage, spotlight, and you're
Yeah.
left alone on stage to deliver, one of the most famous songs of all time. That it's now or never.
It's all on you.
It's really the moment.
All on you. Yeah. And if you haven't seen Oliver, anybody that hasn't, you need to go and see it.
Yeah, you must.
Shanay is absolutely outstanding. Honestly,
Thank you.
You are incredible.
Thank you so much.
What do you hope young girls, black girls, mixed race girls, any young girls, what hope do you give them to aspire to? I think is what with listening to your story and maybe what you've been through and what you hope that they will even take away listening to you.
Yeah. I just hope that they first see representation so they know that there is space for them in things that they haven't even thought about yet. That is so important to know that there are so many young black women that come and watch the show and that wait at stage door to say, I want to play Nancy now. Now is the important word.
Yes.
Because it's kind of like me. I watched the film, I watched the performance, and I didn't see.
You wouldn't have seen yourself playing that. No,
I loved it, and I thought, wow, what an amazing song to sing, and what an amazing role to play. But I didn't see myself, and therefore I didn't allow myself to dream about having that role.
Of course, yeah.
And and that's the sad thing about it. But the brilliant thing about representation is that, well, now there is. And so now young black girls are coming to watch the show and they're like, what now that's on the list of dream roles. And that is why it's so important. But the biggest part of it is, just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not going to be for you. So don't allow yourself to be boxed in, and don't allow yourself to be confined to any ideals. Just go for the work and look at the work, trust the work, trust your talent, and apply it to every single role. Do not diminish an idea that you couldn't be the first anything, because it's for sure, it's there. You just have to be open to it, and the world will open up to it. I do believe that.
I love that. And what's next for you? What's happening next?
Oh God, how exciting! I really don't know. I'm so looking forward to the next chapter. Right now it's so it's Nancy's world. And I love that.
Are you playing Nancy for still quite a while?
I'm playing Nancy until November.
Wow, so you've got until November this year to see Shanay.
But what's next? I would love to do some new inspiring work that really is exciting, and that is what I really want to do, and that's all I want to do. And I'm very excited to see what is next.
What is next?
After this.
I love that open-mindedness.
Yeah.
One song that always gets you maybe in performance mode.
Oh, in performance mode?
Yeah.
That's such a good question. Performance mode. I
know, on the spot
that's
now.
a really good
I love
question.
just that, throwing a little question like that. That can get
What
Shanay
do
in
I
performance
love?
mode.
Oh gosh, there's so many. It's
really?
Hilarious. It's kind of. Oh, I don't know. There's so many songs.
Really?
I have a playlist.
Yeah.
That is like my boss playlist. Like I listen to get me into.
What music is on that?
Certain state.
Go on.
It's very Beyonce led.
Oh, I'm going Beyonce on Saturday. Yeah.
Oh,
tomorrow.
It's giving like
Beyonce vibe, boss
Superwoman.
vibes.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
is
like,
that your playlist?
It
Love
just
that.
gives me that and Mariah's on there.
Yeah,
It's
we
giving
love a
like,
Mariah.
I love Mariah.
Yeah, love Mariah.
But it's just gives
that
me
empowering
that kind
music,
of like
that kind of
yeah.
Queen.
Yeah,
I can sense that.
I
Right, she's
need
going to
that.
share the playlist with me. Now, we're live, so we are going to obviously ask our live audience.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a few questions for you because you know, they're watching and supporting you. But before I ask that, I want to just quickly ask. I've seen you do these little things on your Instagram as well, where you do things backstage, and I love how you're like getting ready and you're doing. What is that thing called that you? The nebulizer. I've seen her with a nebulizer in between. I'm like, but I love all that. But what is your show day survival kit?
Oh my gosh, I just did a video on this actually. I haven't edited it. So my show day survival kit is my nebulizer. My Nebby, I call her.
Right.
Which is, so traditionally hot steam is like a huge vocal health thing. Yeah. But now we have nebulizers, so it's cold steam. So basically, one of the biggest things for vocal health is hydration.
Yes.
And when you have water, you have to have, it's really boring and scientific, but I'm kind of obsessed with it. You have to have 4 hours. So if I was to drink 2 litres of water, it takes 4 hours for it to get into my system.
Oh.
So I wake up, drink 2 litres of water, bam, with electrolytes. That's like number one.
Okay.
And then you have the nebulizer that applies hydration directly to the vocal folds, but topically. So you have instant hydration. So that's why I'm puffing on it all the time.
Look at this. Yeah, you need to check her little clips out. They're so cute.
Yeah.
I love them. I love the little clip. Yeah.
But all the kids pick up, you see all the kids backstage.
So you have that with you on any kind of performance. That's part of your survival kit.
I'm obsessed with it, yeah. Okay. And now the kids are in the show. So you've got 10-year-olds walking around with nebulizers.
It's like set a trend.
Literally. It's hilarious. But I'm like, vocal health as well.
Vocal health as well. That is amazing. Well, so let's hand over. We do have a live audience. Do we have some lovely questions for Shanay?
I've sourced one that's actually not relevant, but I think it's relevant to what you just said, which is your skin is so beautiful.
Oh,
is that due to the 2 litres of water, or and the electrolytes?
It probably is. Thank you so much.
She's absolutely.
What is your skincare routine? Because we need to know.
I have like a double cleansing routine where I use like a.
Sorry, before that, Shanay, we had a guest talk about time, the lack of time. Time, double cleansing
because your skin gets, so you put all this makeup on for stage, which is heavy.
Yes.
Then you're sweating. I mean, the dress is like beautifully made, layered corset, hot, and we're in a theatre that is Dickensian. So this theatre was built in the 1800s. My dressing room is in the basement on stage level, so there's no windows. It gets very clammy in there.
I can imagine.
Aircon is a nightmare for the voice, so we don't put the aircon on. So I'm baking. So you've got makeup, sweat, makeup. So at the end of the show, I have a double cleanser. So I have this foaming cleanser, so cleanse the skin, and then I have an oil-based cleanser, and then all the makeup is gone. I have a toner, and then I apply cream.
I'm loving all the ladies in the room are like taking notes.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Wow.
Thanks.
Great. And any other questions for Shanay?
Yes, one from me, because you've taken me on such an emotional roller coaster of your story and your journey. It's inspirational and it is very femme fatale-esque. You know, if you don't build it, they won't come.
Yes.
You know, so you have to build it.
Yes.
And also you're standing on the shoulders of your ancestors, you know, what they've given you the courage to do, because that voice in the back of your head is real. The naysayer in your head. So what is your survival kit for life when you get that? You've already explained sort of like the highs and the lows, but there is times where I find that creatives definitely go through these roller coaster moments, these highs and there's lows, and some of them become it can really create depression, anxiety at its highest, especially with performances or performers. So how do you quieten that noise, or what have you found to be your source of realignment?
I think, and it happens. It even happens on jobs. It happens when you're in your greatest moments or your lowest. I think it can kind of strike at any time. But I think my biggest thing to try and stay in what I call calm, and to have your nervous system in a place that is coming from a space of safety.
Right.
Are a couple of really, and this is like scientifically proven, really basic things every day that I do. So every day I go outside immediately into the garden where there's sunlight, and I stand for 20 minutes, just nothing on the skin, nothing, 20 minutes. I then walk for half an hour, and when you walk, everything starts to shift. You know, if you stay stagnant, you get into a very restricted space. So everything starts to shift when you walk, and you can just start to speak and feel, and whatever feelings come up, you kind of shift them on a walk. So at least half an hour of walk. Then I take moments, and I do it in the building sometimes before a show or just before I go on for the first scene, which is 10 minutes, or if you can't do 10 minutes, 5 minutes of breathing, of meditation, like meditative breathing. And at home, this is so specific, but at least minimal 12 minutes in the bath does something to your system. 12 minutes minimum in the bath.
Cold or warm?
Warm, either. Gives your body the chance to start to bring the vagus nerve down, and you start to relax into a place. And no screens when I get home, because obviously a massive thing of anxiety and comparison comes from now this device that so also connects us also greatly. And I find myself wanting to read every comment, wanting to, check on all these people, or I'm having a great day and then I see something and I'm like, but it's not as great as their day. And, all these things are going on in your mind. And I think, how useful really is it for me to look at that stuff 2 hours or an hour before bed? It's not. So that goes. So like actual real stuff is that stuff that does help me stay in calm. I have to say that is like my non-negotiables for the day.
Okay.
And if I don't do those things, I do find myself getting into a place where managing stress is much harder.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the real things you can implement.
I think they're going to be so useful.
I think we're going to create a survival kit by yourself.
I think we will. I think we will. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to our live audience. Now, you are at F the News, Shanay. So we always ask our guests, what is your favourite F word?
F word? What do you mean?
Any word beginning with F.
Can I say a swear word?
I mean, we're live, but you can. But what would be your favourite F words?
Well, I do. My mum tells me off. She'll tell me off when she sees this now. But I just do love the word fuck.
She said it. She said it, guys.
I think sometimes, like when something's amazing, you can't really get how amazing it is across unless you say it's fucking amazing. And it's my favourite F word.
Wow, what an incredible guest Shanay has been for us.
Thank you.
I know you are all going to join me in just thanking her. She has been a wonderful guest to have on F the News. She has been so inspiring, so empowering. Just everything about how she is as a beautiful soul, I think is really lovely to hear. So thank you for sharing all that with us. Thank you also as well, guys, for joining us today. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting. We want to continue to keep having these incredible, empowering guests like Shanay on. So please support us. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is Femme Fatale TV, where you can watch all the episodes, including Shanay's one, which will be out next week. We thank you. But before I go, and I'm going to hand you over to our wonderful hologram host, Rochelle, who is going to introduce you to our guest who is in the News Vault today. I've been your host, Liyanne Marie, and this has been Shanay Holmes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
And this week, stepping into the News Vault is Lala performing her track, Faithful.
Now we're locked in on our phones off. Take a seat, babe, take your clothes off. Been a while now, like so long. If I take you down, gonna show it off. Give me peace of mind, prove I'm not an option. Tell me how you feel. chatting on our phones off. Take a seat, babe, take your clothes off. Been a while now, like so long. If I take you down, gonna show it off. Give me peace of mind, prove I'm not an option. Tell me how you feeling, I won't make assumptions. I'm not ever charge you for telling me, baby, I love you. Don't need nobody, just us two. You're picking up when I call you. You know that I trust you, I put my body upon you. You just be hitting it right, keeping me up through the night. You got me staying faithful, oh no. You got me being faithful to you. You got me staying faithful, oh yeah. You make me so grateful for you. If there ain't no trust, there's nothing. I ain't slowing down, keep going. All of my feelings showing. Tell me how you feeling, show it. You give me peace and light. You must be from above. You know I'm falling for you. I'm not ever charge you for telling me, baby, I love you. Don't need nobody, just us two. You're picking up when I call you. You know that I trust you, I put my body upon you. You just be hitting it right, keeping me up through the night. You got me staying faithful, oh no. You got me being faithful to you. You got me staying faithful, oh yeah. You made me so grateful for you. You got me staying faithful, oh. You got me cause I'm faithful to you. You got me staying faithful, I'm faithful. You made me so grateful for you.